There's a reason why there's a blank wall behind me. And in this episode, we are going to talk about the side that most don't want to talk about, starting over. We love to talk about the beginning, the excitement, the vision. You get a glimpse of what can be. We also get excited when we hit big goals. We get to see our fruit coming in, pouring in. But this is the side they don't talk about, that messy middle, the part where you have to start over, the part where you have to admit to yourself you've had to start over many, many times. And that part also can tarnish relationships, end relationships, cause bumps in the road, even get yourself to question, am I even doing this right? Many entrepreneurs go through a lot of these similar mindsets. And from somebody who's had to start over many times, there were many points in my life where I'm like, gosh, not again. And like, I have to start over. Seriously, like, when is it going to be it? Until I decided to reframe. Every time I got to start over and the door closed, because typically that's how God works in my life. He's like, I have to close a door so hard that it's time to start over. I'm very loyal. I don't like to walk away. I see a vision and I clamp onto it, right? I choose to focus on the vision over validation. And sometimes that can work against you, most of the time for you. But here's what I've learned throughout my time being an entrepreneur, well over a decade. God has really softened my heart. And I've prayed for increased sensitivity to his voice, to know when to pivot, when to move, and when this move is of him. Because guess what? When you need to pivot, the enemy's trying to get in there, distract, delay, destroy anything that he can. And one of the things that I do not want to happen anymore in my life are delays. I heard a powerful phrase recently, it was so good by a friend of mine. Delayed obedience is disobedience. Delayed obedience is disobedience. And one of the things I definitely am so focused on is being obedient to when God tells me to do something, to move, to say something, whatever that may be, as uncomfortable as it may be. So the side they don't talk about, the starting over. Whenever I've started over, I have been like, I'm so excited. Let's do it. It's something new because that's what I choose to focus on. But let's talk about the side behind it. Let's talk about the side where fear creeps in. Let's talk about the side where I'm not, are you sure? And let's talk about the side of surrender because the fear, thoughts that creep in, did I hear you right? One of the ways I know I hear God correctly is when I feel a peace that surpasses all understanding just fall on me. That's when I know. The only time it gets uneasy and the waves and the wind start to come in is when I start thinking of my own thoughts of what if, what if, what if, what if. I've even found myself recently in some massive pivots in my life where I've had these, well, what if? Rather than him calling me to do something and I'm trying to work out the how, and then the what if comes in, and then I get confused, right? We don't serve a God that is a God of confusion. He is a God of clarity and order. In order to get that clarity and order, you have to be still. So when you have to start over, yes, there is that like we have to get things going. And I'm talking about starting over as an entrepreneur. Everybody wants that first business to be the one. Well, I have made and created and been a part of multiple. I might even be able to say a dozen at this point. Not quite, but it feels like it. I've been a part of so many where I have learned so much. And I've been able to take pieces that I like, take pieces that I know are meant to come with me, and leave the rest. Sometimes we don't know why we have to leave something. Sometimes we don't know why the vision has changed. And that can be hard. Relationships get entangled with all of this too, with the vision. And that can get messy as well. It can be painful. It can be weighty. Some people don't understand. Sometimes they lash out. Sometimes they say things that aren't even true. And it can hurt. And it gets you to ask, God, did I even hear you correctly? Like, why does this hurt? We aren't responsible for how other people interpret things and for their emotions. That is a very, very, very valuable lesson that I've learned. But what we are responsible for is being obedient because delayed obedience is still disobedience. So the messy middle part where you have to start over. Here's what I've learned starting over many times. And I'm still in the process of learning this and submitting and surrendering to this, mind you. Don't have it down pat, trust me. It is, Lord, you've brought me into this. What's next? You've brought me into this. I know you'll provide. You brought me into this. Who do you want me to talk to? What should I focus on next? In a brain of an entrepreneur, it's like a computer with like 30 tabs open. You're constantly opening these different tabs, and that can be really mentally and physically exhausting, knowing you have all these things to do. That's why it's not for everyone, because most people are like, I'd rather be in somebody else's system. Well, I found out many years ago I didn't work well in other people's systems, and I created my own, learned how to create my own, and find a way for me to be able to create an impact, create an income, be able to serve people with my anointing that God has given me, which is truly pulling out the gold that's inside them and sharing their story. I love doing that. I do that literally all the time, whether I'm with a client or I'm just talking to somebody. I'm so obsessed with finding that gold in them to give it back to them, being like, look what was inside of you this whole time. And most of the time they were like, what? Where has that been inside of you? Just takes somebody to be able to pull it out. It does. The submission and surrender. When you are good at something, oftentimes you're like, okay, God, I'm going to give you the reins for a little bit. You don't say a little bit. You're like, I'm going to give you the reins, Lord. Take it. Take the wheel, right? Jesus, take the wheel. And over time, you slowly grab a little bit of the reins. You grab a little bit more. I went from 1 finger, 2 finger. Now it's a 5-finger grip. Now it's just give me both of them. I got this. I got this. Because we want to be in control. We want to just feel like we have the reins. When really, what I have learned is when I have the reins and I'm in control, this thing's going to start going downhill at some point. May not be immediately, but it will start going downhill. There's so much that I can't see. There are so many things that I might fall victim to be honest. Smooth talk, shiny objects, opportunities. But when you give God the reins, and I'm not talking like just one, both of them, and you're over there on the side and you're like, okay, Lord, what's next? What's next? I'm right beside you. What is next? Even if you don't hear anything, be patient. It will come. It will come. There's a reason why he wants us to do life, business, everything with him. He is the master creator. He gives divine strategy. He gives everything that we could ever need. That is what he does. That is who he is. And in the messy middle part of starting over again, I know I'm talking to a lot of people here because there are so many people I know that I have personally had conversations and even just helped them walk through and come out of feeling that shame, condemnation, the judgment that they put on themselves, that they think other people are judging them for. And maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Again, that is on them. That is not on us. Start over as many times as you need. It doesn't mean that was a waste. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you can take something else with you to the next thing that you are going towards, whatever that may be. There's always something that you can learn, but we put these unrealistic expectations on ourselves. Like, for example, when I've made some recent pivots in 2025, I, of course, had really high expectations. Month 1 going in, this is what we are going to do. Month 2, this is what we are going to do. That was my goal, and I did the actions to get to that. However, it didn't happen. Could disappointment set in? Did pockets of disappointment drip in? Yes, let's be honest. It did. I would be lying to you if I said that it was, oh yeah, it's all good. God's in control. Yes. And let's not gaslight ourselves. Like, let's be honest. Disappointment can settle in because you have this big, grandiose goal. And you have to ask yourself, what is that goal rooted in? Is it rooted in God really getting the glory or showing people, dang, look what I did? Maybe it's a little bit of both. He's after your heart posture. And I can honestly say, over the last 5 years, my heart posture has done like a 720. And I mean that. I mean that. Because every time I did a 360, actually, that's only twice. But the first time I did the 360, there was still so much that I had to learn that I had to go back around again. You may have to circle a mountain multiple times. They had to circle Jericho multiple times, doing action that looked silly before the promise came, and boom. Why would our life look any different? And I have to remind myself that constantly. And when I do, there's actually a peace that comes over me, reminding me I'm exactly where I need to be, doing exactly what I need to do. Because at the beginning of every day, I sit with God in the car. We have a business meeting together. Sometimes I even record it on my phone. I'm like, okay, Lord, here's what I have planned today. What would you like me to do? Who would you like me to speak with? What content would you like me to put out there? How can I serve your people in the position that you've put me in the position that God put me in? We forget that most of the time because we're running so fast and we got to get to the next thing and do the next thing. We want to make all this money and have all this freedom and, time freedom, trust me, that is a number one priority for me. Time freedom. I do not like having time constraints. And I have built my life in a way where I am most productive and I pretty much can wrap up my day before noon. Mostly every day, unless I'm building something out. I'm in a season where it's like we got to focus and grind and build and do some things. For the most part, I can finish and have the rest of the day, multiple hours to spend time with Him. Go shopping if I wanted to. Go meet with people. Go have connection. Have time to refuel and fill my cup. Being an entrepreneur doesn't mean you have to grind so hard that you have no freedom. Now, it depends on what you want to build, right? Really depends on what you want to build. If you have a team, all the pieces in play. Like I know a lot of entrepreneurs where they don't get to do that. That wasn't my goal. My goal wasn't to be a slave to my business. My goal was to be able to have my business pour back into others, pour into my family, my bank account to provide freedom where I can do the things that matter most. And that is creating memories, giving my time to things that matter most, to the people I love and the people that God wants me to serve, and not be chained to my desk. 5-6 years ago, I had a vision that God gave me. It was a vision of my future daughter pulling on my sweater saying, Mommy, Mommy, come play with me. And I said, sorry, honey, Mommy has to work. And I was at a computer at my desk, very similar to where I'm recording this. And it hit me. I was like, wow, what am I building? I'm going to be so busy. I won't even have time for her. What? Well, God knew that was the desire of my heart. Still is. Still is. And one of my biggest goals that I am working to achieve and well on my way to achieving, and getting to say actually, a lot of no's to opportunities that come up if they're going to take away from that. When you start getting in your flow and your zone, you're going to have opportunities. You're going to have things that come to you that may look good. An old version of you may have jumped on that like lickety split, like white on rice. But this new version of you that is submitted, surrendered, and wants peace more than anything else. There were seasons, rabbit trail here, there were seasons where all I had was peace. Didn't have money, didn't really have much of anything. All I had was peace. And that's what I had to rely on. God got me to a place where I was so stripped of everything because I made money an idol for most of my life. I need to have this money, I need to have this money, I need this security, I need this stability. That sometimes all I had was peace. That is it. And anybody that is married knows that, they say finances and children are pretty much the things that people argue about, right? Well, my husband and I have not had kids yet. So finances were a lot of the bane of our arguments. Because at the core of it, we're like, we just need to be able to have X, Y, and Z to X, Y, and Z. But God got us to a place where it's like, even when we didn't have it, we could still have fun together, make memories together, and be in peace with Him. And when you have no money and you're in peace with Him, that is a whole other level that I wish people got to. But honestly, it's also very difficult. It's like a catch-22. It's very difficult season, but you learn and your character is built so much in that season. So the things that people don't talk about are those moments where you have nothing and all you have is peace. I think of it like this too. When you don't have anything else, you're like, all I can do is pray. Have you ever caught yourself saying that? All I can do is pray. When prayer is the best thing you can do, even for people who don't believe, right? Even for people who don't believe that Jesus is their Lord and Savior. If they get in a car accident, their car's spinning out of control and flipping over, what are they saying? Oh my God, oh my God, save me, save me. They're saying it then because when all else fails, right? We tend to do that too. Like, oh, all I can do is pray. That's all I can do. That's the best thing to do. Many of us don't even understand the power of prayer, the power of our words, interceding, praying for others, praying for ourselves, voicing, right? There is so much power in the spoken word. Why do you think the enemy has tried to silence us for so long? Think about the garden. Love using this as an example. Back in the garden, right? Eve has the apple, right? So on and so forth, right? From that moment in the garden where shame, condemnation, sin came in, Eve basically silenced. Adam, like, ran and hid, wanted to hide himself. Just basically the voice, the very thing that God gave them, they wanted to just retreat and be silent and try to hide from God. The voice gets silenced because shame, guilt, things that we do, it all started in the garden. So many of us are plagued with it. I've been plagued with it for so long. I recently found out there was so much shame that I was feeling over many things in my life. And my mom and I recently actually had like prayer over it. And I feel like I got delivered on so many different levels. And I'm saying that out loud because you never know when there's going to be a time where somebody's going to pray and say something and something breaks off of you. But oftentimes you're like, no, I don't want to go there. No, that's too painful. No, you don't have to do that for me. The best thing you can do is have prayer warriors in your life where you can call and reach out, being like, I need prayer. I need intercession. I need you. I need you. And what a compliment if somebody were to tell you, I need your prayers, right? Like, I want you to pray on my behalf because where two or more are gathered, where people are praying in unison, where they're coming together, it does something in the spiritual realm. And we won't get into that because that's going to take a whole nother dovetail in this whole podcast. But the dovetail, the rabbit trail, I should say, of sometimes people say, all I can do is pray. That is the best thing to do. So the part that people don't talk about, again, the the side that people do not want to talk about, the starting over, the pain that it causes, the fear that comes up, can I really do it? Can I actually do it? We have to remind ourselves it's not about us. It's about us being obedient. And as a result, God gets to come through. He gets to show off. His strength comes alongside us. And we get to be still and listen for his next command, his next word, his next anything, showing us where we go, what we do next, right? Doesn't mean we're still and we don't do anything. We all know there's things that we need to do. There's all there. I mean, you could literally go on ChatGPT and Google, what do I need to do to get to X result? It will tell you. It is not a secret. It's a matter if you want to do it or not. It's a matter if you have the belief or not. It's a matter if you have the faith or not. So when it comes to starting over is actually a blessing. It really is. It's a fresh slate. Hence why I have the wall behind me, completely blank. It's a fresh slate for you to be able to be like, okay, here's what we've learned. What are we going to do different? And Lord, what's next? I don't want to do this on my own strength. I want to do it with you. I want you leading, you guiding. So I hope this helps somebody to understand that, yes, the excitement of building something new, it is exciting. Sometimes that fades out a little bit, especially when you're like marching towards a goal, right? And maybe it's taking you longer to get there. Pause. Create intentional pauses throughout your day. Be like, Lord, what's next? Lord, show me what needs to be revealed and healed. Lord, like, don't just wait to pray in the beginning of your day, the end of your day, on Sundays. Throughout the day. That is the conversation I have the most is, Lord, what's next? Lord, what's next? I may not voice it out loud, but I'm constantly in dialogue. And that's what keeps me sane. That's what keeps me focused. That's what keeps me disciplined. That's what keeps my eye on the prize of you brought me into this industry of entrepreneurship to serve your people, to pull out the gold in people, to see things and call things out in them that they may not have seen otherwise. So that story can bring him glory. unlock doors, break chains, be able to build businesses that provide provision, that can bring more kingdom to earth. There's so much that gets to be unlocked when we give him our yes and we steward that yes well. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. So if there's something in this podcast that resonates with you, go share it with somebody else. Share the link, share a phrase, tag me in it. I want to know what is resonating with you. Comment below, because people get revelation, they get breakthrough off of your revelation, off of what you share. That's why God created us to be in community. I could have just not pressed record and not shared this at all, but I was like, you know what? There's a reason why this is coming up. There's a reason why I get to share this. And we get to. And here we are. So let me know what's resonating. Love you all so much. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. It means the world to me that you would lean in, listen in, and be able to hear the value that's being shared on this show. Don't forget, if you love this episode, rate the show, leave me a review, be sure to share it with a friend, and don't forget to tag me on social media. I will definitely be giving you a shout out. Also, come say hi, drop in the DMs. I would love to be able to hear what stood out to you the most on the episode, and if there's any topics that you would like to hear on the show. We'll see you next time.